compassion in your heart. And a little Missouri twang. Oh, to be my blessed Savior, I surrender all to thee. All to thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all.
I really think that the acoustic set's been pretty cool. For us, it means more than just playing acoustic guitars because that's kind of the way we started. It's kind of getting me out of my comfort zone because I'm up at the front of the stage, and I'm usually not up at the front of the stage. But it's just a real intimate time. You can see the people's faces. You're a little more intimate with them. And then the worship time and the songs that we do in that set are just really intense. And I think that it just kind of makes a statement to people that this is where we came from, this is where we still are.
Let me introduce the band real quick. Down here on guitar, Mr. Mike Scheutzer. Over here on accordion, Mr. Jim Bryson. That's quite the nice accordion you got there, Jim. I hear the ladies love the accordion. No, they don't. It only takes the most confident of men to play the accordion, so I couldn't do it at all. So it's good that you are. Anyway, on percussion over here, Mr. Robbie Schaefer. On acoustic, our newest member, Mr. Barry Grawl. And way down the end on bass, Mr. Nathan Cochran. They're screaming for you like you got an accordion on. Hey, come back. No, we're just kidding. Anyway, you know, it has been an amazing journey that God has had us on in the last 10 years. And I have to admit, the most amazing, most surreal, most fascinating thing that I've been a part of that's happened in my life, and I believe probably as a band as a whole, has been the last couple of months, more specifically December and January. And it wasn't because of a big show or anything like that. We actually try to take those 2 months off just so our families know that they're way more important than what we do as a band is. And we had just finished the fall tour, and that last show, when it was over, I felt like a kid getting out of school for the summer. You know, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to go home and lay low. And I had kind of a cocky attitude saying, God, you know what? Just see me next year. I'm off. I'm home for the holidays, whatever. And I could almost see God smirking and saying, no, you're just getting started. And there was about a 4 to 5 week period in December and January where there were 8 people somehow connected to our lives that passed away. And to lose a loved one is a huge deal in someone's life. But when 8 people, when it just seems to keep going and going, it was almost unbearable. And the first person to go through this was a friend of my wife's and mine. And she was pregnant with twins. She was 5 months pregnant, and she lost both the twins. And she was so far along in her pregnancy that she still had to give birth to the babies and then have a funeral. And I had the incredible privilege of singing at that funeral. And it's one of the hardest things I've ever done because I couldn't fathom being where they were in that service and having to go through such an emotional time. And the curse of a songwriter, I go home and I start writing down kind of what I'm feeling at the time. And I call it a curse because you feel like you're kind of cheapening this huge ordeal in someone's life by trying to put words to like 4 or 5 minutes of music and try to make it rhyme. But as a songwriter, we keep writing. And I wrote the chorus and realized about after that, you know, I just don't remember what they're going through. I don't remember what it feels like to lose someone. My father passed away almost 13 years ago, and I just can't recall, you know, how it feels. And I didn't want to fake my way through it or anything like that. So I pushed it aside and didn't mess with it anymore and just thought maybe someone else could finish it. Then a few days later, Jim's father passed away. And a few days after that, some people from my hometown passed away. And our manager's father-in-law, then his grandmother died. And all these things were happening, and we all were kind of feeling like, God, what in the world's going on? Then the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my entire life was on January 3rd of 2004 when my brother-in-law, my wife's only brother, who was 20 years old, was killed in a car accident. And I felt like my heart had been pulled out of my chest and cut into pieces. You know, I sit here every night and I talk about how God is greater than anything and he can fix anything. But I felt a hurt and a pain that crippled me. And for the first time in my life, I thought, I just don't know if God can fix this. And deep down and ultimately, I know that he can, but that's what I was feeling at the time. I couldn't move. And needless to say, that song that I couldn't remember what it felt like to finish, I finished pretty quickly. And I had the privilege of singing it at my brother-in-law's funeral. And at the last minute, the song was able to make the new record. And I was so excited to let, you know, my friend who lost the twins and my in-laws and everyone that had gone through losing someone during those few weeks, to let them know that this song came about because of the ordeals they went through. And to see the smile on their face that maybe, just maybe, their loved ones' lives were not, they weren't lost in vain, that people's lives could be touched, you know, for years to come. And we never meant to write the sequel to Imagine. You know, we prayed that God would take us kind of out of this season, but for some reason God has kept us here. And the song doesn't talk so much about heaven as it talks about those of us who have lost someone, and we get kind of the raw end of the deal, and we've got to stick around and wait. And, you know, if you're a part of the body of Christ and you know that there's no goodbye, there's no end, we don't belong here. It's just a matter of time, but still, the waiting hurts just the same. And if you've lost someone, then I think then you truly understand what it means to be homesick. And so I just pray that this song ministers to you the way it has me every day since the 3rd. And the title of the song is called Homesick.